Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Entrepreneurial Mindset. Why do entrepreneurs don't go big risks? This is actually the question many people ask, and the answer is because they follow the affordable loss principle. What is the affordable loss principle? First of all, let's look at non-entrepreneurs compared to entrepreneurs. Josef Ackermann, who used to be CEO of Deutsche Bank, once said, our goal is 25% return on equity. And this is how the investments were done. If it's over 25% return on equity, an investment is being done, otherwise it's not being done. But then the whole sum is committed into a new project. What do entrepreneurs do? Start with a quote by Jeff Bezos, and he says, good entrepreneurs don't like risks. They seek to reduce risk. Starting a company is already risky. I mean, committing your time is risky. We have to be honest in that. And then you systematically eliminate risk step by step in those early days. So what you basically do is you only commit a low limit step by step. And this is what many of the important entrepreneurs did. For example, Michael Dell, he started with $1,000. Leonard Schön started with $5,000, which was quite an amount of money if you consider this was in 1946. However, not really much money if you compare what he built as a company and compare to Hertz Corporation, which was already alive there. So what entrepreneurs basically do is they commit a comparatively low limit. They say, I commit my first $1,000, then I give it a go and look what happens. And if something positively happens, then I can commit another $1,000, then I can go further. And this is how entrepreneurs systematically reduce the risk and only commit really low limits. This is why entrepreneurs are the best in managing those risks, because it's not really a risk, it's only an affordable loss, which they are willing to commit. Let's compare this approach again. Look at the traditional approach of managers first. If you look into management books, you find a risk-return equilibrium. And this is where everyone has to start. And managers start there and they pick a target return. As you've seen with Josef Ackermann before, the Deutsche Bank CEO. He said, we want to have 25% equity return. So this is basically the return he'd like to get. And how do you handle the risk in order to get a premium? Well, what you try to do is you try to reduce the risk step by step using, for example, insurances. How do you reduce the risk of oil price changes? Well, you can hedge against that. You have to pay for that, but you can reduce the risk of the oil price going up a lot or going down a lot. Or going down, you might like that. However, so reduce the risk of going up a lot. And this is the traditional approach of managers. What do entrepreneurs do? Well, they start with an affordable risk, actually an affordable, comfortable loss. I said, this is my low level of risk, my low level of what I'm willing to lose. And it perfectly makes sense in uncertain situations. Because in some certain situations, you have to learn over time, and you will only do that stepwise. So don't commit everything into your venture. Just commit an affordable loss, a comfortable level of risk, you can call it. And what the entrepreneurs do then is, because this is the equilibrium here, they push creatively to increase the return. And this is how entrepreneurs might end with a high return, although they only picked a comparably low risk or a comparably affordable loss. And especially when it comes to uncertainty, this makes perfect sense. Because then you can, with every level you go, you can learn more and more whether your company will be successful. Remember the Freytag brothers. They bought the first Torpulin, they made the first bags, they tried to sell it, and then they went further. Remember Tory Burch? She started with a single store in Manhattan and she did the clothing in her kitchen. And then she put it in a store and she just tried whether it works or not. And that's a very, very comfortable level of risk. And she didn't know whether anyone else would buy 50s, 60s fashion or not. Actually, this is what I read. This is 50s, 60s fashion. It might also be called bohemian fashion or whatever. I'm not an expert in fashion, so if Tory Burch ever looks at these videos, please excuse that I'm not an expert. So she liked it maybe, but is this really for everyone? It was sold in the first day, sold out in the first day, and then she saw, oh, this is going to be successful, and then she could take the next level of risk, like the Freytag brothers. They could take up the next Torpulin and by that, stepwise build their business. So this is how the means orientation on the one hand and the affordable loss principle, secondly, work hand in hand together in order to reduce the risk for entrepreneurs. Actually, they don't like the risk, and let you start your business in a very uncertain situation in a good way. Now, the next principle comes into place, how entrepreneurs deal with contingencies, because if you follow that logically, you can also work with contingencies because you only risk a certain step, and for the next step, you again have to find your level of affordable loss or comfortable level of risk.